Alright, here's our fiberglass cloth that we actually have to put down inside of between the skin and the Seacast. This is how they say to cap it off. We actually take this, and I guess this makes it pretty doggone strong. That's going down one side, and then we have to go down the other side in the front. Let me get some of this here. Now the front of this. Kind of hard to do this. Everything's sticking to my hands. And this is how to cap this thing off. There's that. I'm going to pat it out straight. And then all of our extra Seacast we're going to take and put in there. Alright, back under the hole here we go. And get on the lights here. There's my corks. And I actually had to put pieces of Velcro on these corks because I was afraid they were going to pop open. But the Seacast is there. And I pulled out the one cork. We've got Seacast all the way up into these stringers. So this has actually turned out to be really good. The Velcro has held. This industrial strength Velcro has been awesome. There's the other stringer. We've got Seacast all the way up in these risers here that are attached to the stringers. And I'll tell you what, this stuff is hot as heck. I can't even touch it. This stuff is so hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the corks out and hopefully give this a little bit of room to breathe here. And hopefully it'll cool down a little bit, help cool it down with me removing these corks. Oh, my brother's got the Grateful Dead playing in the background here earlier. Bless his heart. Great. Oh, my dog wants to play ball all day long, don't you? Huh, Reka? Alright, here we go. 24 hours later. Got the Seacast poured. It is cured. And man, it's solid as a rock. You can hit this stuff with a sledgehammer, it's not going. I just now put the cap on, and I was reusing the old cap. And what I did was I followed the directions in the Seacast manual. Underneath this cap, it actually has a layer of fiberglass cloth, the woven cloth, dug down into it in a U shape. And you actually take a screwdriver and lip it down in while everything is wet. That was done, and then I overlaid that with about that much Seacast. Maybe about that much. Now this top layer, one thing I noticed, this top layer really I don't think has a whole lot of structural integrity, especially with that fiberglass cloth in it. But from the factory, they have sealed the top half of this boat and the bottom of this half of this boat with Bondo, and that's not me. And they originally had this cap on with this filler, a fiberglass filler. So with the strength in that U-shape fiberglass cloth, that's going to be its major strength up here. You also got to remember, this is only like 5 inches from here to here. So there's really not a whole lot of structural integrity that this has to take. Most of your structural integrity is actually down on these bottom motor mounts. This is where it's really got to be solid. So what I did was, after the Seacast is cured now, 24 hours, I now went back in, and with the original body filler of the underside of this cap, it already had this stuff on it. I basically sealed this cap on with Bondo body filler, which is pretty strong. It doesn't have a whole lot of structural integrity, but it will keep this cap on basically and keep it waterproof. And then I've got it clamped down. I've also filled in the rough spots where the 2 motor mounts were. Everything is smooth now, and where there were cracks under these points here, I actually fanned out Bondo and resin in here, so it actually it will be waterproof through here now. So everything is smooth and flat. Cap is on, and I just ordered my paint, and I'm going to use Interlux Pacifica Plus from West Marine. I was going to get, when I ordered that, I didn't realize that you can't spray Pacifica Plus. You actually have to go to the Interlux website. This is a roll-on, but you know, this is a 20-year-old boat. I'm going to roll it on. It's going to be less messy anyway. I do have an air sprayer paint gun, automotive paint gun, that I was going to use, but I would have had to have thinned the paint out with a special $30 thinner and all this stuff. You know, I'm just going to roll this on and make it smooth. Roll the first layer on, sand it down, roll the second layer on. It should be on fairly smooth. No one looks at the back end of my boat anyway. So I guess I'm going to play a little bit of ball with my dog, since she is patiently waiting here. You want to go fetch? Huh? Come on. Ready? Well, here's our paint. I used Interlux Pacifica Plus, and when I ordered it, it said gray, not gray-white. Well, it came in. It's definitely lighter than the gray that was originally on the boat, but it didn't turn out too bad. I just drilled the holes, and none of this could have been done without frog tape. Man, I got some good seams from the paint with that frog tape. I really did. But here it is in all its glory. As you see, the paint really didn't match. It's a lot lighter gray. But I was everywhere looking for a dark gray paint, and I found an Interlux brand one, and it was discontinued. And I also found some other stuff that you could mix, but I would have had to buy $150 worth of paint, and that's if they sold quarts, which this was the only quart of gray that I could find. This is what I'm going to do the engine mounts with. Life caulk for underwater stuff. The top cap turned out pretty good here. I used my old dirty top cap, cleaned it up a little bit. But I was able to get everything in there, got new stainless steel screws on there. And I silicone the top. Silicone is okay for topside stuff. You don't really want to use it underwater. You want to use like a polysulfamide type of caulk. 4200 by 3M. A lot of people use that. But it didn't turn out bad. My motor mounts, I actually made a drill jig, which worked pretty good for free. You can buy one for a couple $100, and then you can buy the little template, the Mercruiser / Force drill template, for $150. So for probably about 400 bucks, you could drill 4 holes. And for me, $100 a hole was not worth it. So I got them pretty straight with this drill jig I made. I got one of them a little bit off right here, so it's just a touch off. And this one isn't exactly perpendicular, but it'll move a little bit, so I got a little bit of play there. Everything turned out pretty good. It's solid as a rock. I mean, you can beat this thing. You can beat this thing with a sledgehammer. This boat will break in half before that goes. I mean, it's amazingly solid. I'm really happy with this Seacast stuff. The only thing I wish my gray would have matched a little better. But we got it all done. I'm going to be getting out on the water here at the end of July, taking a week off. We're going to take over an island and live like pirates for a week out there. So it's going to be ready. I'll get the motor on here in a little bit and get everything test run. And next week I'm going to get out on the water and I'm going to shoot a little video on the water. They even give you a little cool little sticker to put on the back of your boat. Alright, we got some chicken on the Barbie. Got a frosty libation. It's a couple days now since I've put the engine on. My caulk is drying. Can't wait to get this thing out on the lake. I think it turned out pretty good. Got it all painted. The engine actually distracts a little bit from the paint mismatch in the color. We got the life caulk. It's starting to dry. Boy, this stuff takes 3 days to dry tack and about 7 days to cure. Everything went on real well. Holes went in real well. Got the fish finder. My speedometer pitot broke, so I actually ordered another one on eBay. They're only like $7. Real cheap. So far it's been raining like heck, and it's been holding water. Nothing's been coming out of the drain hole in the bottom of the boat. I'm really happy with the Seacast stuff. This stuff is solid. I mean, it used to flex when you actually bounce the boat up and down. And I'll tell you what, this thing ain't going nowhere. I'm about 255 pounds and I can stand on this thing now. But everything went real well. Ready to get this thing out on the water this weekend. We're going to give it a good test and I'll do one last video. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped anybody out there with their transom and using Seacast. I'm very happy with the product. So, signing off for now. We'll get a good shot on the boat one of these days. Bye-bye. Alright, I made a little mock-up of cardboard of how this transom looked. And this is basically how it looks. You had your stringers running this way. And over here, that's your stringer. Those go into the hull. Then you had these risers right here. Then your actual transom was sitting in the middle here. And that was all rotted, basically. It was rotted up until about here, where the stringers would go into the boat. So what I did was I took out all of this wood on these risers, and of course the transom, and I took out the rotted wood going into this stringer here. I took a part of the rotted wood out of the stringer at the end here. I just really wanted everyone to see exactly kind of how this transom looked inside the boat, with the stringers, the risers, and then the transom there at the end. The risers and the transom were totally rotted out. I was able to dig all that out, and I was able to dig most of this stringer out, like I said, up to here. After digging all that out, the Seacast filled up to about in here. And it took me 7 gallons of Seacast to fill this stringer up. I hope everybody can see this. Sorry about my modeling job with a cardboard here, but I just wanted to get a good visual on how this thing looked inside the boat. I could not get anything on the internet about how this actual transom was sitting together and put together. Now, of course, all this stuff is encased in fiberglass. You can see the risers. When you get into the hole, you're sitting inside the boat, there's a hole here, and you can actually stick your head in there and see these risers, which is where I had the corks. I had 3 corks right here and right here. So I was able to get inside and tap all the air out here and here as I was filling everything up. And then, of course, the transom itself filled up here. So that's kind of how it looked on the inside of the boat. It's how it was set up. You had your stringers on the outside of the risers and the transom itself in the middle of those risers. I hope this helps everybody. Alright, there's our new bilge pump. The motor mounts seem to be holding pretty good. We are out on the water right now. Getting a little bit of a push. I think the motor might need to go up 1 more notch. I think I'm in too low in the water. But we're holding pretty good. No leaks. There's the Seacast. You can see the holes. I took the corks out. And we're doing pretty good. Seems to be working. Who's choking on it?